Hi, this is part 3B. So thus far, I have mentioned several, I think 6 strategies to actively engage your participants. You can pause the video and see if you can recall them. And they were the Think, Pair, and Share, the pre-reading assignment, the creating a visual depiction of some sort. Number 4 was the mini group learning, more than a group of 3 or 4 people together. 5 was the minute paper, and 6 was the thumbs up. Number 7 is the concept of wait time. This is a heavily researched area that indicates when teachers, presenters use wait time, students, participants are more likely to understand what you've spoken about. And that is, wait time is defined in a number of ways, but one of the ways is that the time you pause after you ask a question before you call on someone. Now, calling on someone is a way of engaging the audience. Now, if you have 20, 30 people in the audience, you can't call on all of them, but you can call on 3, 4, even 5 throughout a presentation. And when people participate, people are likely to listen if you've given them time to think. So, for example, I'm going to pose a question. Who can describe to us what the thumb up, thumb down, thumb sideways technique was all about? Now, I look around the audience. I don't call on the first hand that's up, but I wait, and research says between 9 and 12 seconds. And can you think of a reason why I would wait 9 to 12 seconds? You may say, well, I'll lose people that way. The problem is that when you pose a question and call on somebody right away, everybody else stops thinking and gets disengaged. Rather, if you wait and pause and look around, then it allows them to think about the question or issue or case underhand. And, lecturers, Magidei Shir, are reluctant to call on people because I think they feel that people don't feel anxious about being called upon. But I think if a Magid Shir creates an atmosphere of trust, and they're all learning together, and there's no wrong question, there's no bad question that you ask, there's no wrong answer, that we're all here to learn together, then you can encourage. I think that people have been conditioned not to respond because, first of all, they've never been asked, and they've never been, or not frequently been in an environment where the responses are not put down, but rather encouraged. The 8th technique is role playing. You may go over a subject between Abayin, Rava, or Rav Chisda and so forth, and you may actually have them role play, act out, again in pairs or small groups, a situation. Role playing is a way of reinforcing ideas in a lesson and helping students get better engaged. I'm sure you can think of ways, depending upon the content you're speaking about, of engaging them by encouraging them to role play. A 9th strategy is what's called the recap. Every good presenter starts out with, here are my goals of my lecture, and then there's what's called a medial summary or a recap. Before you go on, recap what you've covered thus far. Give them a mnemonic, ABC, or some sort of memory device for them to recall the information. Recap for them, have them maybe at that moment turn to Pair and Share to review that mnemonic or concept, and then go on. By the way, each of these strategies can be used almost simultaneously or in conjunction with each other. They're not in isolation of one another. And the last idea of engaging them is giving them a handout. Now, these could be Mamre Komos, but also could be a summary. I encourage lecturers, presenters, Magidei Shir, to give us a written summary of what do you want. We mentioned Sof Ma'asav Machshav Techila. When you give a presentation, you have to ask yourself, what do I want these people to leave with? What's the critical information? Is it important for them to know that this idea came from Mem Gimel Amid Beis, Megillah Daf Chaf Aleph Amid Beis? Is that important? Well, if it is, then put it on a piece of paper, because they'll never remember it by just talking about it, because they're just listening. So write down on a piece of paper the takeaway information that you want them to leave with, and before you give it out, before you give it to them and they leave, again, to actively engage them, give it out and have them review it and go over it with you before your share ends. These are the 10 strategies, and there are more, of actively engaging your audience, your participants. Now, of course, all this depends on the type of shiur you're giving and your comfort level of engaging people. One Maggid shiur, actually told me, I don't really feel comfortable. I'm not a professionally prepared educator, and so I just rather talk. And when I asked him, does he have any idea if the people listen to you learned anything or understand? He goes, well, quite honestly, I don't really know, but I surely gained from it, from preparing and presenting. Well, again, what's the purpose? The purpose is just to give out information, or the purpose is actually to help people take away important information. So if you simply want to go over information without really attending to the degree to which listeners will understand, the lecture is fine. And so you have to really think about the purpose and what you want people to take away from your presentation. Okay. Now, of course, all this is presupposes that your lecture, that you're speaking clearly, that you're motivating, that you have come up with a clear, well-organized presentation. That, of course, is fundamental to all of this. Okay, I'm now ending part 3B, and Be'ezus Hashem, I'll end this presentation with part 3C.